Hi everyone and welcome to another 5-Minute Friday. Today we are breaking the rules a little bit and going over 5 minutes because the information is just that important. As I'm sure you all know, we have a very important presidential election coming up in just over 2 months, and you may be wondering, does my vote really count? Which is a valid question and concern. So today we're going to be talking about the Electoral College because we can't talk about our votes in a presidential election without talking about the good old EC. This has been a very hotly debated topic as of late, so I want to give you all the facts that you need to know to make an informed decision yourself on where you stand on this subject if you've been confused. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. Let's start with the basics. What is the Electoral College? In the most simplistic of terms, it's a group of people selected by each state to elect the president and vice president of the United States of America. This system was put in place in the Constitution, and the number of electors that each state has is based on its members of Congress. And for over 50 years, the number of electors in the Electoral College has been 538. So let's talk about really quick how we get that number. Each state has 2 senators, so this represents 100 members of the Electoral College. The remaining 438 come from the House of Representatives, which is based on the population of each state, as well as 3 electors from Washington, D.C. A census is conducted every 10 years, so the number of electors in each state can change based on the census numbers. 2020 will be the last election using the 2010 census. So this is why larger states population-wise have such a huge impact on elections, because the magic number that a candidate needs to win the presidency and vice presidency is 270 Electoral College votes. The states with the highest number of Electoral College votes are as follows: California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Illinois. So how exactly does this process work? It's actually a 2-step process. So step 1, prior to the general election, each state comes up with a slate of electors for each candidate running. It's important to note that the members of Congress are not actually the electors. That's just the basis of the numbers that each state gets, and members of Congress are actually not even allowed to be electors. Although the Democratic and Republican parties are not the only 2 parties running in the election, those are the 2 that I'm going to use along with the state of New York as an example to kind of simplify the process for you a little bit. So prior to the general election, a slate of electors will be chosen for Biden-Harris, and a separate slate of electors will be chosen for Trump-Pence. Step 2 comes on the day of the general election, when we all go to the polls to place our votes for who we want to be president and vice president. So, say a majority of New Yorkers go to the polls and vote for Biden-Harris. That means the slate of electors that were chosen for them will then go on to place their votes for president and vice president. In the state of New York's case, Biden and Harris. The electors will meet this year on December 14th to formally cast their votes. The votes are then counted officially on January 6th, and the president-elect is sworn into office on January 20th. So technically, your vote this November is going towards the slate of electors chosen for the candidates that you would like to be president and vice president. So that brings up another common question/concern. Do slate members have to use their vote based on the popular vote? And the answer is no. There is no constitutional provision or federal law that states that electors have to vote based on the popular vote in their state. However, most state laws do say that all electoral college votes in that state must go towards the state's popular vote. However, again, there are such things as faithless electors who go against the popular vote in their state. In 2016, there were a total of 7 faithless electors, which was the highest number in over a century. And consequences for this can vary by state, but include fines, or they may be disqualified for casting an invalid vote and being replaced by a substitute elector. There are, however, 2 exceptions: Maine and Nebraska. They have 4 and 5 electoral college votes respectively. 2 of those are required to go to the popular vote in each state, and the remaining votes are decided by district. This is how a candidate can win the popular vote but lose the election. The overall amount of votes per capita could be greater for one candidate, but depending on geographically where those votes are, a higher number of Electoral College votes could go towards another candidate. This has happened in 2 recent elections, in 2000 with Al Gore receiving more popular votes than George Bush, and in 2016 with Hillary Clinton receiving more popular votes than Donald Trump. So quick recap before we finish up today. When you vote in November, you are voting for the slate of electors who are going to then go on and cast their vote for president and vice president. So does your vote really count? Yes! It absolutely does. Each state is clearly very different in the number of Electoral College votes it has, but the magic number is 270. So on election night, as you're watching the numbers roll in, remember Electoral College voting doesn't actually take place until December 14th this year, but it's usually apparent by states and their numbers where the tides will turn. That's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to rock your vote in November, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!